Joseph Lahiff here, and I get the privilege of working with folks like yourself to help build organizations and get products and services to market. And the thing that I've been working with the most with people recently has been, well, recently, for the past 12 years, has been helping them get stuff to market faster, more efficiently, and more effectively. So I want to talk about that last one a little more effectively on two parts today. This is going to be a timeline. And the traditional way that we have built things has been like this. I would put a whole bunch of time into planning it up front, right? The first thing we do, well, I got all out of focus. The first thing we do is plan a whole bunch of stuff. Let me turn you here a little bit. There you go. So we get all this planning done. Once we get the planning done, we do some detailed design work. And so we come up with what the design is going to be. This may be a training course. It may be launching a new laptop to the world, or whatever it is, the product or service that you provide to your customers. You plan a whole bunch. You do all this market research, and you plan. You figure out what their requirements are. What does the market need? What is their desire? Then you design it so it's really perfect and wonderful, and it's going to meet their needs perfectly. And then you build it. You take a whole bunch of time and you build the darn thing. And once you're done building it, then, well, maybe a little bit of overlap, you test the heck out of it so that you know that it's going to serve your customers well, and it's actually going to work when it gets out there to the market, because you don't want to have something that doesn't work. And then you finally release it, and maybe there's some planned release and marketing and things like that happen in the release. And maybe this is 12 months. It could be more. It could be 18 months. But this isn't what I teach. This is an old way of thinking. This is the way of thinking that was developed in the manufacturing times, when you had to do a lot of upfront requirements gathering to design something so you could make the molds and all the hardware and all the things to make it happen so that you could deliver it. There's a better way to do those kinds of things now. Today what I do is I talk with people and I say, you know what? If this is January and this is December, the requirements, the things that you think your customer needs today are going to change by the time they get down here. They just are. You just don't know what they want. And matter of fact, the customer doesn't know what they want until they see it. And then they can start to form an opinion about it. And this has been proven time and time and time again. So what we do instead is we say, you know what? I am going to take one requirement, a thing, the most important thing that I think, and that I talk to my customer and what they think they need, that one thing. And I am going to get that requirement. I am going to then do the design required for that. I am going to build it. And I'm going to test it and deploy it. There. In January. Not in December. Then I'm going to take the next thing that we think is important, and I'm going to build it. I'm going to research it. I'm going to design it. I'm going to build it. I'm going to test it. And I'm going to deploy it. I know this is taking a long time, but stick with me. Now, what's going to happen is, this is where the magic comes in. I have now given my customers two pieces of desirement, things that they wanted. And the fact is, now that they have them in their hands, they want something different. See, at the beginning, they would have said they wanted all these things. But now that they actually have something, they have new ideas. And that new idea may be that this thing here in the middle, that is actually the next most important thing. And so we want to build that. Or it may be that something completely else that they hadn't thought of before, some brand new idea that they wouldn't have come up with is actually the next big thing. And now we're going to get the requirements. We're going to design. We are going to build. We are going to test. And we're going to deploy this new thing. Now we've had 3 products into the market. Now look at this. 3 products into the market in the time that it's taken to just gather these requirements. Not out here in December. When we got the first product into the market, we started receiving revenues, small amounts. But because it was the most valuable thing to my customer, the 80-20 rule applies. Of all of these things, 80% of your revenues are going to come from 20%, on average, 20% of these requirements. So if I prioritize this correctly, in the first, if there's 10 requirements here, in the first, I don't do math in public, in the first 2 requirements, 10, 20, yeah, in the first 20%, the first 2 requirements, I'm going to get 80% of my revenues. So, do I need to do the rest of it? Or are we okay? And then, since 80% of my revenues are coming from those 2 things, my customer's going to come up with something else. It's probably not going to be one of these things that's lower than the 80%. They're going to come up with something that's a high value item that I hadn't thought of before, that they wouldn't have thought of before, but now because they have these other 2 high revenue things, high value things, they're going to come up with another high value thing. You see how that works? So while there may have been 10 or 100 requirements up here that we would have built out over a year, in the course of a month or 2, we are able to get 80% of the value delivered to our customer and 80% of the revenues coming into your company, rather than waiting for this whole stupid timeline. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about today in the market. This is what I teach my clients when I'm in coaching with them, for coaching businesses to grow faster and grow their revenues faster, right? Grow their business faster, grow their revenues faster, customer acquisition faster. This is the way you need to do it. Don't try and plan everything up front. Plan in little bites and release those, and then learn from what your customers say. I'm Joseph Flahiff, and I appreciate you being here today. If you got value out of this and enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed creating it for you, obviously I get a little bit passionate about these things, I hope that you will like it down below and share it with folks if you think that they could find value in it. And if you're interested in learning more about this and becoming a private client of mine, just put private client in the comments down below. Thanks. We'll talk to you soon.